Welcome back to American Sunlight News Podcast, and congratulations to our new viewers and fans for sticking with us during these beginning days. We enthusiastically supported Karoline Leavitt from New Hampshire when she ran for Congress, and although she fell short of victory, she voiced a strong, conservative message throughout her congressional district in the Granite State and gave a message of hope to patriotic Americans everywhere. Of course, now we are supporting our own Mark Greene for Director of Elections. Since Mark may have to go from county politics to city politics, we must keep a wary eye on federal Way, Washington politics as the erratic Mayor, Jim Ferrell, sometimes liberal woke and sometimes rhino-like, though a former Republican turned Democrat, switches back and forth from his political leanings like a chameleon on a trampoline. The Ferrell mayoralty in Federal Way has a fetish about flags, it seems, and that tells you a lot about their political ideology, as they can't be content with just flying the American and state of Washington flags. This year, his mayoralty seems to siding with the Joe Biden regime when it comes to the undeclared proxy war in Europe that Biden is waging, without the support of the majority of the American people or even a vote in Congress. Jim Ferrell is apparently taking his clues from Biden, as we don't remember taking a poll or a vote in Federal Way as to which side, if any, that the people here want to support. We're pretty sure there wasn't one. If Jim Ferrell wants to practice his personal international politics somewhere, he should run for Congress instead of falsely implying that Federal Way, by planting flags on the council dais and maybe elsewhere, has taken sides in the European conflict. The council is not without blame either, as they could be taking some initiative about flags at City Hall and throughout the city, in general, not just about the undeclared proxy war, but we're not seeing a lot in that regard. As far as we can tell, Federal Way is pretty much neutral about foreign wars, generally, and we really don't want to get involved, especially when Biden is raising the already unholy deficit with all his profligate spending. Mayor Ferrell has also raised, or allowed to be raised, radical left woke flags everywhere in the past, including those about sexuality and thinly veiled racial identity flags. The only flags that should be flown by the Federal Way government is the American flag and the state of Washington flag, our time-honored flags that represent every citizen. A rare exception would be foreign national flags, though temporarily and brief, when foreign dignitaries may happen to visit City Hall. The other exception is the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, for City Hall ceremonies, as those are flags that everybody can get behind, and not controversial. Ferrell's penchant for flying controversial flags at City Hall may not be unique to Federal Way, but it surely is not the conventional practice across America. The council needs to put a stop to Ferrell's divisive, controversial errant flag policy. If you would like to donate to Mark's Director of Elections campaign, please go to the Mark Greene for Director of Elections section of this website. The campaign needs several $50 and $100 donations in order to make it onto the ballot, and time is running short. If you did not go onto the podcast from the website, however, you can write us about donating or volunteering through partyofcommons@yahoo.com. Again, that's partyofcommons@yahoo.com. Thank you so much for listening to American Sunlight News Podcast, whether you're first time or ongoing. We appreciate your attention. God bless you and God bless America. Before we go, we need to make one more mention about flags. Although, we noted two exceptions to what our flag policy would be, both being temporary and brief, that does not mean there should not be other exceptions, and not necessarily temporarily or brief, especially those revolving around our servicemen, servicewomen, and veterans, as the missing in action flag, for one, should always be flown until we can account for every single one of our armed forces members. Remembering always strength, honor, and nation.